are chased on the streets within a short time without proper sensitization, without proper alternatives, will that be a better country? Will they be able to trade under the circumstances which give them an opportunity to flourish? Our take is, as a party, is that it is true we want an orderly city, but also we must respect the human rights. We must respect the business rights of these individuals who have been trading there. Now, to ask them to live overnight and to use crooked, wicked and brutal ways of evicting them, I'm sure that most of them have lost their property. They have been evicted under unclear circumstances. And so our take is that Kcca should offer better alternatives, affordable alternatives. Now, to ask a street vendor whose capital could be about 100,000, to ask him to go and rent space somewhere in a market which is very expensive. Across the entire world, when you go to New York, there are street vendors. There are no cities in this world where people do not vend things. What we only need to do is to structure the way that street vending must be done. For example, we can allocate time, we can allocate days and spaces where the street vendors can be able to trade with dignity. Because if you are sending someone to Kcca, if you are sending them to Boyogerere or Lugazi, wherever you are sending them, the things that you quickly ask yourself is access to markets. We should ask ourselves, why in the first place are the street vendors in the heart of Kampala? It is because there is opportunity. And so this is a governance issue. As DF, we have been talking about federating as a country. Now, to centralize Uganda's economy in Kampala and Wakiso is part of the problem. If you centralize everything in Kampala, so Kampala is the most attractive place in Uganda. Rather than trying to centralize everything, this unitary form of government, we can address this at a governance level by federating as a country, the regional cities, the regional the 16 sub-regions that went to Lancaster to discuss. We can decide to decentralize most of these activities, decentralize business, so that many spaces and places are attractive across the country. So when you see millions or thousands of street vendors here, it is because opportunities are largely 90% of Uganda's economy is in Kampala, Wakiso, Entebbe, Mukono. And this is a problem of this country. So we should be able to address that. So trying to chase them without understanding spaces, cheaper spaces, we should offer, give them time, they should be sensitized, they should be allowed an opportunity to go through a process. Otherwise, to wake up and give a 2 weeks ultimatum is unfortunate. This is not how life is led. Life, we must plan, we must, as a government, as DF, we must execute plans, not waking up in the morning and saying, from today, we do not want street vendors. And this is unfortunate for most of us as a country. We are together with the street vendors. They may have their challenges, but we are for their rights. We are for their business rights, and their business and economic rights that they must have. Every Ugandan must be given an opportunity to become economically productive. And these are things that we keep talking about. That can we make Ugandans more productive? What this is going to do is that there is going to be an increase in the crime rate. And of course, as usual, this government is full of espionage. They will use espionage, they will use brutality. And this does not solve the problem of the people who are suffering economically. The other issue, of course, along economics, that this economy is run by a few people. It's run by a few people in Uganda. And so an economy which is only for the few puts us at a disadvantage. So by and large, I would rather that we sit down, a structured manner of addressing this problem, sit down to plan, engage the stakeholders of the street vendors, organize the street vendors. They need to be organized properly into some form of associations or whatever, that they can be organized. And then we engage at that level structurally in an organized manner. We believe in doing things in an orderly manner. So now, if you may ask who has lost what where, nobody can account. There is no accountability. We don't know how much property has been lost. We can't account for the brutality. We can't account for anything. And we put government on the spotlight to be able to give us an accountability, how many street vendors have been there, how many property has been lost, whatever, because we need an accountability as a party. And so this is our starting place that for us we are looking at, and we want to make sure that everything is smooth, the city is organized, but without necessarily abusing the rights of others to